active and defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
Thank you very much, Ian Wright. I can take it from here. Festive greetings, Merry Christmas, people. You know, Happy New Year, festive greetings, all of those sort of things. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, very appreciative of you lot tuned in. I appreciate all the support you give the platform. If you haven't hit the like button, turn on your notifications, checked out the YouTube playlist, following on all the socials, links are in the descriptions, commenting in the live chat / in the comment section, then what are you doing, man? All of these things, make sure you're up to date with all the content, and obviously make sure that the YouTube algorithm puts our brand and gets us out there. Obviously, at the time of making this vid, this is in the afternoon, just a couple of hours before we play Arsenal versus West Ham. So if you do see this in good time, make sure you join me for a watch along live from 7 p.m. We're moving to January. We're on the 26th of December. Now, I'm happy to have Arsenal back against West Ham. Hopefully, I'm still saying that after 90 minutes because we watched Tottenham versus Brentford. Hopefully, there's no shenanigans in that for us. But, you know, we might as well go over the transfer news. So enough waffling, enough rambling. Slap the like button. Let's see what's going on in today's thingies. Now, courtesy of the Athletic, I copied and pasted the key parts. I mean, they were speaking in relation to Arsenal in the transfer window. And it just goes like this. Given Arsenal had the capability to complete at least one of these deals a matter of months ago, the article was talking about Danilo, Douglas, Luiz, Rafinha. It's fair to surmise there will be substantial budget available to Arteta and Edu in January. The club's strong position also gives them an excellent chance of more European football next season, potentially a return to the Champions League after 6 years away. Owners Kroenke Sport and Entertainment, KSE, may be prepared to sanction spending with confidence there is a summer windfall to come. Who makes the key decisions over transfers? I'm going to skip this part because we all know it's a collaborative effort. Edu, Arteta, Richard Garlick, etc. Vinay, they've all got their remits that they have to do, but it's a collaborative thing. Once a player is identified, obviously Arteta has to give his opinion on the technical front. When it comes to dotting I's and crossing T's, Edu's a bit of an all-rounder. Richard Garlick is more the contract man, and Vinay does what he's doing. So we already know that, people. Really and truly. When Arsenal dispensed with their existing scouting team in the summer of 2020, the intention was to introduce a more streamlined, efficient process. That painful decision does appear to have paid dividends, as Arsenal's recent transfer business has largely been successful. Exactly like in recent years, probably only Sambi Lokonga really is, and he's clearly got talent, but he's one that you're like, oh, you know, Tomiyasu Zinchenko, Benjamin White, Gabriel Jesus, they're all doing their thing, and anyone else I've missed out. As much as Edu deserves credit for overhauling recruitment, many close to the club feel it is ultimately Arteta's word that carries the most weight. Of course, he's the manager, not a head coach, even though Edu's got a promotion of his own in that he's technical director now, or sporting director. The title's changed, so yeah. In the discussions and debates over potential signings, the Spaniard tends to get his way, obviously, because he's the one managing. You know, we heard that Edu wanted Neto, Arteta wanted Ramsdale, and, you know, Zinchenko was more of his case. And you look at Jesus, it was more of a both. And that's nothing, you know, that's cool. It's not always the case, but if Arteta wants a player, that often proves to be the deciding factor, as it should be. Which position is priority? Now, with Jesus' injury, you might say up front. With our pursuit of a winger in the summer, you might say wide position / up front. I hope it's still central midfield, even though it's kind of gone away from that. Oh, what's going on here? Sorry about that. They do not want to allow a relatively short-term problem to shape their squad building plans. So a pure 9 is not high on their agenda. Arsenal have wanted an additional attacking player for some time, but one who operates on the flanks. That's where the Mudryk rumours come. A player who can provide cover and competition for the likes of Saka and Gabby Martinelli. Arsenal allowed Nicolas Pepe to join French club Nice in the summer, but the closest they came to replacing him was the addition of promising but raw Marquinhos. A new central midfield players also on the agenda for 2023, but with Partey and El Nene currently fit, there is less urgency in that area. It's something more likely to be attended to in the summer. In relation to plausible targets, The Athletic said, The Athletic have already reported on Arsenal's primary target, Mudryk. Arteta and Edu are pushing the 21-year-old, are pursuing the 21-year-old winger, who has been watched closely by the club for some time. Arsenal considered a summer move for the Ukraine international before pivoting to signing Luiz when Partey and El Nene were ruled out by injuries. Mudryk is excited by the prospect of joining Arsenal. The problem is that his club, Ukraine Shakhtar Donetsk, are publicly suggesting they expect to receive as much as 100 million in brackets 88 million pounds for his services. Arsenal do not intend to go that high, so be working hurriedly to try to find a compromise. High price tags may be a hazard for the mid-season market. Look around Europe at plausible alternatives to Mudryk, and none seem particularly cheap. Take Mohamed Kudus, the Ajax winger, had a strong World Cup with Ghana and is coveted by clubs across Europe. When Manchester United brought Brazilian winger Antony from the same Dutch club for 100 million euros in the summer, they set a problematic precedent. And then it went on to say who could be heading out. Arsenal have a relatively streamlined squad, so it'd be surprising if they allowed many players to leave during this window. There may be one or two departures from the fringe of things. Cedric has found first-team opportunities difficult to come by since Ben White moved to right back. Tomiyasu is also competing for the fullback berth, but the 31-year-old might well leave in the forthcoming window. At the moment, the front runners for his signature are Fulham, staying in London, and indeed the Premier League, having originally come to English football with Southampton in 2015, with appeal to the Portugal international. As yet, however, there has not been a formal offer for his services. Third choice goalkeeper Karl Hein had expressed a desire to go out on loan to gain more first-team experience. Arsenal's current position is that he's required to stay as cover. The decision to play the Estonian in the Katyarabal Cup tie against Brighton in November was made in part to demonstrate he remains a valued part of the squad. And Matt Turner's had 1-2 injuries, so you might have to stay. But going out and playing a strong amount of games would help him. But we probably need to be a bit selfish. Game time, and obviously we're out of that cup, so that's less time for him and obviously Matt Turner. And as we advance in the Europa League, you'd imagine our first choice goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale now plays. Anything can happen, God forbid, but if Ramsdale gets injured, that's an opportunity. In the same way currently there's an opportunity for Eddie. Martinelli's taking advantage of that left wing with Smith Rowe's absence as well. Game time is likely to be just as hard to come by for him in the second half of the season. So it'll be worth watching to see if Arsenal's stance softens towards the end of the window. I mean, we have got young keeper Hubert who could fill in as a third choice. This article went on to say, people, we should look at Kolo Muani, obviously playing for Frankfurt and a World Cup finalist with France, people. So we'll have to see. I'm not too sure if that's going to happen, people. So that's all that Athletic. That was the bulk of what the Athletic had to say. Mikel Arteta wants Arsenal to make January signings as quickly as possible. This is idealistic. Sometimes it's not realistic, says it. And that's true. He said, we knew the importance of getting players early in the summer, and that is the same thing we want to do in January. Amen. Jesus, Fabio Vieira off the field, Zinchenko, they were in early. They were allowed to adapt early. We had a great preseason, and you know, we're getting to grips with things and we're doing all right. So like he said, this is idealistic. Sometimes it's not realistic, but obviously if you ask my opinion, as quick as possible, we want the players in to get settled. Amen. He went on and said, absolutely, in this league with the competition where the bar is and what the standards have been for the last 4 or 5 years, something the Premier League has not experienced in the past, we know that every point is going to be massively important. Amen. He then went and said, we are very much aligned with the players we are looking for, whether they are possible or affordable. The timing of it depends on so many things that are out of my control. The theory says that it's a very tricky window for obvious reasons. January is a reactive market, injuries, contracts, players wanting to leave, players wanting to, you know, it's a reactive market. No one's actively trying to buy or sell in January, you know, because you would have done everything in the summer. He said, we think about Arsenal as a team and a club that has to be at the very best. And he said he was far from satisfied with his achievements across 3 years in charge. The hardest thing is to win. And once you have won, to win again and to win again and to win again. Amen, Gaffer. So that's what Arteta has said. Allegedly, the keeper said Arteta wants to sign a winger, a DM, a left-sided centre-back, and possibly a new striker, depending on Jesus' recovery. The priority at the moment is the wide man, who primarily plays on the left, can play on the right with Mudryk. Arsenal are ready to submit, or better yet, offer 50 million. Shakhtar 180. So there has to be some sort of compromise there, really. Again, I think this will just echo the same thing Mikel Arteta has said, people, and it has, people. Can we afford not? Well, in fact, there's some extended comments. Can we afford not getting the player that we want? That is my question. We can afford to get a striker for sure. If we want one, I don't know if he plays in League 2, in League 5, in Spain, in Portugal, in Africa. We can get a striker, I can guarantee you that. Or what we cannot afford to do is get a player here that is not for us. This is what we cannot afford. That is for sure. We don't need a body. We need players that make the team better. I think personalities that have the mentality that we want to win. Amen, Arteta. And we have to focus on that. We have to be very strict with what we have done and the policy we have had to make the team successful. We are very aligned with the players we are looking for, whether they are possible or affordable. The timing of it depends on so many things that are out of my control. The theory says that it's a very tricky window, and I mean, no one could disagree with the gaffer. Allegedly, Xhaka and Cole, apparently Xhaka, Zinchenko, Holding, Cedric Suarez have all been coaching at the club and coaching our younger players. So it's nice to see they're getting their UEFA B coaches and that licenses, and that might give them a more appreciation on how difficult it is to be a gaffer, and also help them in life, innit? Whether they're going to be scouts, coaches, players, or whatever, or they might just get the qualification and say, I don't want to do that. So who knows where that's concerned, people. Arsenal agree Mudryk transfer with talks over fee, with Shakhtar Donetsk continuing ahead of January switch. Arsenal have reached an agreement with Shakhtar Donetsk to sign Mudryk, according to reports. The transfer of the Ukrainian winger could go through in January, with talks well underway, people. This agent, or better yet, journalist, claims that the Gunners have a deal in principle. And specifically, has he said anything here? No, so fair enough, really. Frenchman could be tempted by Emirates move. Mulo Gusto could be tempted to make the switch from Lyon after witnessing William Saliba's progression, says Dean Jones. Could do with a right back, 19 years of age, can play right back, letting Cedric go, to have Tomiyasu, Ben White, and obviously him able to play a couple of roles, specifically the first two, then him. Why not? Apparently, we're looking at him in November, as it said here, and it's not just us. Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Manchester City, Tottenham, Barca, Atletico, and Dortmund are all said to allegedly be interested, people. They value him between £26.3 million and £35.1 million. His contract is set to expire in 2024. So whether his name's just being linked with clubs as his agent plays a bit of games to get him a new deal at Lyon, who knows? But you'd imagine the summer is where you get him, people. He's the type of right, and he's very aggressive. That's one thing I like about him. He's the type of right back that I think would be a really good fit for Arsenal under the current vision. And bearing in mind how Saliba has grown, I'm sure there are reasons there for him to be tempted by a move like this, people. And apparently, he scores quite high for attempted passes, expected assists, interceptions, and completed dribbles, which, some of them are not the primary job of a fullback, but it tells you there's something raw to work on there. Allegedly, Vlahovic is open to a move away from Juventus, says Ben Jacobs. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing this. We know that Vlahovic has been on Arsenal's radar because they quite bullishly in January tried to sign him, and all it really did was catalyze Juventus's push to sign Vlahovic earlier. Now there's a feeling from sources that because of Juventus's uncertain situation, they're under investigation for alleged financial malpractice. Who knows? Sporting sanctions are not out of the question, but more importantly, because the Italian system allows for all kinds of different appeals. So more important that the actual sporting sanctions is actually just the fact that it's not thought that Vlahovic is particularly happy under Allegri. And because of that, I think he's open to a move, and Juventus are at the same time quite prepared to entertain offers to see what happens. So we'll have to see exactly where that is. But I think the book is shut where Vlahovic and Arsenal's concerned. We've seen this already with Arteta. Why have I got so many comments there? This further saying that we've apparently agreed a deal in principle for Mudryk, people, as you can see there. Rafael previously spoken on does he watch the Premier League? He said, when asked about a desire to play in the Premier League, he said, yes, in the future, but now I'm 100% focused on Milan. I'm at a top club and I'm under contract. I also like the city of Milan. I've seen a lot of games this year. I like Arsenal. I think they play really well, and he's going to cost a pretty penny, but like Benassia, contracted until 2024. Romano says that Gakpo wants to join Man United and not Arsenal. Obviously, Ten Hag's there. He's Dutch brother. It makes sense, in it, really. So unless United move away from it, then that's, you've lost that, really. Gakpo hasn't changed his mind on Manchester United. He was keen on joining last summer, and this is still the case. Discussions with his agent have always been positive. It's on Man United now to decide internally about 55 to 60 million. And I mean, there is scope for him and Mudryk to play, but currently they both, as much as Mudryk can be groomed into playing a bunch of roles, and Cody Gakpo is quite versatile for PSV, probably off the left. At the World Cup, you saw him play central for Holland and play slightly deeper, but primarily at this moment in time, he's probably a left winger, and that's him and Mudryk. So I don't see us bringing in both, even though it would be great if you could, people. So you never know what could happen, but it seems like that's a myth. Gunners have had conversations over João Felix move, says Fabrizio Romano, people. Romano has backed up reports of Arsenal having conversations with João Felix's agent over a possible move to the Emirates Stadium, people. What specifically has been said, because we keep seeing this. It's true they had conversations with his agent, George Mendes, but it depends on the conditions of the deal, because if it's more than 100 million euros, I think it's going to be difficult, people. So we'll have to see. And again, like you lot already know, it comes down to money. Telemans has been back in the news, people. The most likely Leicester player to be in demand in January will be Telemans, contract running out. Arsenal's interest remains, though they were put off by Leicester's asking price in the last window. With Telemans' contract winding down, valuation will have to reduce dramatically, says Rob Tanner of The Athletic, people. Charles Watson, João Felix has said, as far as I'm aware, there has been no official contact with Arsenal and Atletico. Our guy over in Spain, Ruben Urel, who I'm sure you're probably aware of, who works for Goal over in Spain, is very connected over at Atletico. He's Ruben on the ball when it comes to, well, he's, in brackets, Ruben is on the ball when it comes to João Felix. And at the moment, he doesn't think there's been anything official in terms of Arsenal going over there. But there's lots of talks about a potential loan deal, who apparently we've bidded for him twice there to get him on loan in previous window. Valeria, I can't pronounce that. Forgive me for mispronunciation, people. AC Milan are confident to extend Benassia's contract. The player is open to staying. George Mendes has spoken to Arsenal and United over João Felix. Premier League is the most likely destination. Clubs are waiting for Atletico to change the terms of the deal. In brackets, they want more than 100 million euros, which they're within their rights to try and get, people. So we'll have to see how that one day develops. The feeling is that the clubs, in brackets, Arsenal and United, are waiting for Atletico to change the terms of the João Felix deal, as the Spanish club wants over 100 million euros. This is Fabrizio Romano, people. João Felix's file has entered the final stages. Arsenal and Manchester United have begun final talks with George Mendes for the player. That is by Alexis Bernard of Le Ten Sport, people. So it all depends where you read. Romano has said on Gabby Martinelli, the closest now is Gabriel Martinelli. He has the same agent as Endrick. So after completing the Endrick deal with Real Madrid, now the agents of Martinelli are also working with Arsenal to extend the contract. There are positive conversations ongoing. It's not a done deal yet, but it's progressing very well to extend the contract of Gabby Martinelli, folks. So yeah, drawing that what you will. Shout to all these Arsenal accounts. Arteta said, I have more faith in Eddie Nketiah every single day, because we see every day what he brings to the team, what he is as a human being, the way he's developing as a player. He's ready, and that's why he signed his contract. He's a key part of our squad. Amen, Eddie. Hopefully, you can do that against West Ham. So yeah, we've seen that with Dean Jones. What is this saying, people? This is just an article on the Daily Mail in relation to Arsenal. It said priority is to replace the goals they'll miss during Gabriel Jesus' expected 3 months absence. They want a striker while talks are ongoing over Shakhtar Donetsk, his free scoring winger Mudryk, but his 86 million valuation will need to drop. They are one of several English clubs who like the 18-year-old Real Valladolid right back Ivan Fresneda, while Rabiot of Juventus has also been offered. In brackets, people, or better yet, in bold, positions wanted left winger, midfielder, and a striker. And you could also extend that to left-sided centre back as well, people. So I don't know if that's all possible in January, but we'll have to see. But in relation to Vlahovic, Mudryk, João Felix, and the rest of them, that's all I've got to say. As I said, people, check out my YouTube playlist, people, for more content. Comment your opinions, smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you join me at 7 p.m. for Arsenal versus West Ham watch-along business. Most importantly, festive greetings. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay in great health. Happy New Year if I don't see some of you from now till then. God bless you all. I'm out, man. Safe.
So it's always just that active when defending.
I've been given like